The recent news that 2XKO is officially stopping development in December of this year. Here are 10 reasons why, in my opinion, the game failed. Reason number 1, the name sucks. Who decided the name 2XKO was a good idea to call it any game? Not a code name. The code name Project L sounded way better and way more relevant to the IP than 2XKO. Out of all the names you could have called this game, League of Legends Brawl, League of Fighters, Arcane Fight, something. That makes way more sense than 2XKO. Because even if you have no idea of what the game is, it's a free-to-play game. It's going to pop up on your store potentially. We'll get into that in a minute. But you're going to see 2XKO, and you're like, what is this? Not knowing it's based off the biggest esports IP in gaming and one of the biggest TV shows of the 2020s. You wouldn't know. You're just seeing 2XKO in these characters. You don't know who these people are. Because the only character you might recognize is Jinx, maybe Vi. That is it. And I don't think they're that popular characters to carry an entire game off their face alone, in my opinion. Maybe I'm tripping, but in my opinion, there aren't enough. So when you have the name 2XKO that's not related to anything, it's like, how is someone supposed to know what this is? That don't make sense. And even if you don't even care about the tying into the whole League of Legends thing, it's just a bad name, right? There's another game with a similar name, DCKO, but that makes sense. It's based off a comic called DCKO. So you can tie it to something. You cannot tie 2XKO in any form or fashion to League of Legends or Arcane by itself. You can't. So that's reason number 1. Reason number 2, it launched with 10 characters. Now, I get it. Video game budgets have ballooned. They're getting bigger and bigger, right? GTA 6 is allegedly have a $2 billion budget. It's getting bigger and bigger. It's getting insane. I get it. And fighting games are no different. I understand. But 10 characters in a fighting game. 10 characters in a fighting game that is a tag fighter. A 2v2 tag fighter. So in any given match, you are seeing almost half of the roster in one match. In the official release, not like an alpha. Okay, here's half the cast. No. That was the whole thing. In 10 characters, that's it. And it's not even like they're taking the Fatal Fury City of the Wolves approach where every month you get a new character. Like, no, they're spacing them out. So that's even worse. As of the recording of this video, they have 15 characters. Now you're getting 2 more, right? They did say it in a little announcement, but as of right now, they only have 15. That's not even more than the Street Fighter 6 base roster. That is half of Tekken 8's roster. Mortal Kombat 1 has a higher base roster. Not even including DOC. That's just a base roster. That's who you're competing with. You're not competing with the Under Night. You're not competing with the Guilty Gears. You're not competing with the Fatal Furies. You're in the big money. You're owned by Riot Games. That's triple A. Triple A money. Big money. That's who you're competing with. You're not competing with the little low, here's arcs. No. That's big money. And you only have 15 characters? In a year? Only 5 after launch? When you launch with 10? That's insane. But speaking of the roster, number 3, the roster is very questionable. Now, I don't play League of Legends, so if you want to disregard this point, feel free. But I think their choices of champions for this game, out of the 15, in the top 50-ish, how many of them are even in the game? Let's count it. You know what? We're going to do it right now. We're going to count it live. Caitlyn's in the game. Thresh is in the game. Jinx, Ahri, Yasuo. Darius is in the game. Katarina, I think, isn't. Nope, not in the game yet. She's not in the game. Nope, not in the game. I thought she was. Guess not. Akali's in the game, and Vi, and Blitzcrank, and Senna. So you got 10 out of 50. So 20% of the top 50 most played champions. Again, I don't know if this website is credible. So if this website is not credible at all, take this entire thing with a grain of salt. But out of the top 50 characters, you only got 10 of them, which I get it. You only got 15 characters in the roster. But like, you know what I mean? You can use some more popular champions. Like, I strictly remember before the game launched, I saw people demanding this Lee Sin guy forever. And they still haven't put him in the game. Now, they did say they were adding a couple more characters to the game. Lux and Samira. So you're getting 17. Wow, 17. You finally passed Street Fighter 6 base roster. Congratulations. But regardless, I think the roster is very questionable. Number 4, it was revealed way too early. It was first revealed in 2019, and we really didn't see gameplay until like 2023, 2024. That is way... Look, I get it. Development takes time, especially since you started from scratch. Brand new engine, brand new everything, so you got to create assets. I get it. I completely understand. Don't announce it 7 years before the game releases, though. That's nuts. That is insane. I get it. You can be in development for that long, but don't announce it. And then another issue that I have is that they didn't really have a concrete vision. And especially it started off as a platform fighter, and then it went into a 1v1 fighter, and then it went to a 2v2 fighter, and then I was like this weird amalgamation of you can have two, but you can play one against two or against one. They didn't have a set vision, right? They didn't have a vision in mind, and they didn't stick to it. This is what the game is. It is what it is. We're gonna figure it out. We're gonna iron out the little kinks, the little wrinkles. We're gonna figure it out. But this is the vision. They didn't have that. They are kind of all over the place, and the reason why, the staff is made of pro players. Now, again, this might be a little bit of a hot take. I don't like it when pro players are in development, okay? Because just because you're good at something doesn't mean you know what you're talking about or what you're doing. You're just good at it. Like, for example, NBA players and NFL players are all over sports media, but like 95% of them have the worst takes imaginable. Again, just because you're good at something does not mean you know what you're talking about or what you're doing. And that extends to gaming as well. Boy, oh boy, do we know about that. That's a video for a different day. But regardless, 9 years in development, entirely too long. You didn't have a set vision. You kept changing what you wanted the game to be, and it ended up with this weird amalgamation of everything. It's like you wanted to satisfy everybody, right? You wanted it easy with the simple inputs and all that, free to play. But then you also have this super difficult, complex thing with the combo system, and then you have the fuse system. We can get very complicated at times, and in implementing it into a match is really difficult. It's like you can't have your cake and eat it too. I get it. Difficulty is a spectrum. It's not just you're here or you're here. I get it. But it's like you are trying too hard to go to both sides that you kind of just split the game in half, and now you don't really have a complete vision. You know what I mean? If you want to go all in on the simple inputs, go all in with it. Go all in. Right, if you want to make it simple, make it streamlined. Battle for the Grid was a great game, simple inputs. Or the Street Fighter 6 approach, modded controls, go with that approach. But don't try to do both ways. It doesn't really work. Number 5, the marketing for this game was bad, like really, really bad. Again, I said this before in the first point. The name sucks. Okay, so you're not tying it to League of Legends or Arcane. So you gotta do your best with the marketing. It was non-existent. There is the biggest streamers on the planet, Valkyrae and her clique and her group, the biggest League of Legends streamers and their groups. You're telling me you couldn't sponsor a segment of their streams for like 2 hours? Go to Valkyrae and her friends and be like, hey, play this League of Legends fighting game for like an hour. We'll pay you some money. Go to Faker. Hey, bro, play this League of Legends fighting game for like 2 hours. We'll pay you. You couldn't do that? Like, the FGC is the FGC. It is what you're not going to get new eyes on something in the FGC. They already know it's there. You got to go outside of the community to sponsor. All right, it's fine to sponsor like the super big streamers, like the Say Jams and the Brian F's and the Maximilians. Those are fine. They're going to play the game anyway. But you got to sponsor the people who know nothing about fighting games. The people who are not related to the FGC in any way, shape, or form. Right? Especially since you're trying to market it as a beginner-friendly game, what's a better way to say, yeah, this is beginner-friendly than sponsoring these people who have never played a fighting game, or not that many, and saying, see, this is how beginner-friendly and fun this game is. But you didn't do that. And then, number 6, we're going to go straight into it, the beta into-release strategy was bad. You don't market the game, and then you do this closed beta. It started off PC-only beta, console, open beta. All this time, this was a couple months. It wasn't like a week. No, it was a couple months. PC only. Then we get the console open beta. And then we get the full release to the game. All in one stretch. So PC had the game for months before console could even touch the game. And then they open, and then the game finally launched for everybody else. That is bad. Like, if you're going to do the beta into release strategy, just do an open beta for all. Or if you really want to do the exclusive beta so bad for PC, just do it for like a week. Let them have it for a week, then go to the open beta, then go into launch. I think that's still a stupid strategy, in my opinion. Just launch the game by itself, no lead up from the beta. Just launch the game, because all that does is just confuse the audience. Is the game out? Is it not? Because PC had the game for months. That's technically the full release. And it's like, so the game is out? Well, no, it's still a closed beta on PC. It's not out on console yet. And then an open beta for console where it's technically still just the beta, but it's also the official release. So it's kind of like this weird amalgamation of both. It's kind of out, but it's kind of not. Just do the release normally, please. Number 7, the monetization was kind of crazy. Now, I am willing to give this one a little bit of slack. It's a free-to-play game. It is up to you. It is just costumes and outfits, okay, and colors, okay? So it's nothing groundbreaking. It's nothing crazy. So if you just want to disregard this entire point, by all means. But the monetization was crazy. I think at one point there was like $100 bundle or something like that. It was like early in the game, like $100 bundle, and everyone went like, "Yo, that's kind of crazy, bro. Relax." But it is personally up to you if you want to count this point. But regardless, it has to be said. Reason number 8: no Steam release. Regardless of how you feel about Steam, if you somehow hate Steam, I don't know how you can, but regardless, if you do hate Steam, it is the biggest PC marketplace ever, okay? If you're going to buy a game, most people are going to buy games through Steam. And when you don't have your game launched through Steam and it's not available through Steam, you're losing a good chunk of your audience off rip. I'm not saying it's going to just kill the game entirely, but you know what I mean? Most people only feel comfortable buying games from Steam and maybe Epic Games, and that's a big maybe. But most people, it's just Steam, and that is it. So you're kind of cutting off an entire, basically an entire console at this point, because Steam is basically a console at this point. So you're basically cutting off an entire console at this point, an entire audience base, I guess is the word I'm looking for, to the game. So you're already limiting your scope of players already. Reason number 9, Riot Games got a little bit hasty. And what I mean by a little bit hasty, there were also another game called Team Fight Tactics that kind of went through something similar. It got shut down pretty quick. Now, if it's not the next big thing, it's, oh my God, it's making a gajillion dollars, it's a flop to Riot Games. Now, I don't have the monetary records of 2XKO. I don't know if they were losing a bunch of money, how much they were losing, how much they were gaining. I don't know. I'm not an expert. I don't have the stats for that. But regardless, 2XKO, in my opinion, was doing not that bad. I'm not saying it's going gangbusters, but you know, it was pretty consistent for the entire time, right? Since its launch, it's been pretty consistent viewers-wise, player base-wise in tournaments. It's been very consistent. So to see it just shut down out of nowhere is kind of out of ordinary. You know, I thought the game was doing fine. You know, again, it wasn't like the next big game, as some people thought it was. Some people thought it was save the FGC, it would change fighting games forever. It didn't do that, but it was doing okay. So just to see it shut down pretty much prematurely kind of tells me that Riot Games was expecting it to be a lot bigger than it really was. But to call 2XKO a flop would be, in my opinion, wrong. And last but certainly not least, reason number 10, the state of fighting games is very weird. For the longest time, people were like, fighting games are niche, but I'm like, not really. Smash Bros, yes, it's a fighting game, is one of the biggest IPs ever. Like everyone at some point has played Smash Bros. Mortal Kombat X and 11 both sold 10 to 12 million copies. Mortal Kombat 1 just reached 8. Injustice 2 sold 9. Street Fighter 6 just got 5 or 6 million copies. So Tekken 7 sold 10 million. So the state of fighting games are not a niche genre. It's not as niche as people want to make it out to be, right? It's doing fine. It's just the retention is really, really bad. That's a video for a different day. But, you know, it's not as niche. But right now, the last couple games in the FGC has not been performing well. Avatar Legends has reviewed well, but the game as a product is really, really bad. Like, it's still missing a lot of features from the pre-order bonus. Like, it's a really bad launch. Marvel Tokon, bad launch on PC, losing players left and right. It doesn't have really good PR right now. Tekken 8 has been a flop. Still haven't reached 3 million copies as of the public knowledge. So from 10 million to 2, really, really bad. Mortal Kombat 1 sold pretty well, but reviewing wise has not been the greatest. And the only game that's in here that's really doing well is the most boring franchise in gaming history, Street Fighter 6. But regardless of how I feel about the franchise, it is kind of a fact that the game is doing really, really well. And that's kind of the only game. If you want to count Guilty Gear as part of this new gen, fine, that's okay. But regardless, it's mostly just Street Fighter 6 and maybe Guilty Gear Strive. That is it. Every other game either stopped development or is a flop or no one really cares about the game. And Invincible Versus came and went. You know, it came out like, what, April? Around that time, like April, May-ish. And then we're in August. No one cares anymore. No one cares. So that should tell you about the state of the fighting game scene right now. I don't know what needs to change, what has to happen, but regardless, it is not in the best state right now. Again, that's just my opinion. I enjoyed Mortal Kombat 1. A lot of people didn't. Tekken 8 is getting better for what it's worth. I don't really play any other game besides that, but regardless, you know. So long story short, 2XKO is another game in this current confusing generation where it's super hype, super popular, but like in terms of actually playing the game, it's kind of going down and down. And those are all 10 reasons why I think 2XKO failed. But notice how I barely mentioned anything about gameplay, because what you enjoy of a fighting game, I might hate, and vice versa, right? if people enjoy a game enough, they will meet the gameplay demands of whatever they're telling you, no matter how weird, blocky, complex it is. If they enjoy a game enough, they're going to find a way to play it. They're going to find a way to get good at it. They're going to find a way to beat it, regardless of the skill check, the skill level, or the demands. Okay, so gameplay is subjective. And in my opinion, the gameplay wasn't that bad, in my opinion, but that's subjective. But those are my thoughts on the failure of 2XKO. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I want you to get down and like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell for more videos. This is Eli, signing out.